All right, now I'm going to do something that I thought you guys might appreciate. This is a little preview of a class that I'm going to do as soon as I finish up with this one. Um, I created a movie poster a couple of weeks ago as a way to um, try and show. I also have I think I've mentioned it a lot enough times that I have a website called the Indie Film Academy, and I teach filmmakers. Well, I don't teach filmmakers, but I have interviews and we have articles about filmmaking. And so the other day, I was showing some people how to create a poster. And what I want to do is just kind of take you behind the scenes so you can see what a file like this looks like. Okay, so this is loading up. This is a fairly large file. It's not a full resolution 300 DPI poster, but this will give you an example of kind of what you will need to learn in order to do stuff like this. Let me just take these. Well, I'll just hit Control H, take that off, and bring over my, where's my layers panel? I don't see it. Oh, here we go. Layers. All right, now let's look through here. Now, if I zoom in on this, Control plus, you can see that this is very high resolution. Not as high as I would need if I actually wanted to create a poster. You can get in here and see all the details of what I did. And this isn't totally done. You can see all the details in the, the helicopters crashing, and you can see all these explosions and all of these lens flares and everything, and there's just like decay. And I want to thank my friends over at Nuclear Snail Studios. They let me use this picture. This picture is not mine. I didn't take this. But I did composite this picture into the image. Okay, so let's just look at what the typical layers panel would look like on something like this and how many things there are. You can see that right here I have the Batman poster. So I was using that as a guide during some of this. Actually, I used that as the guide for the bottom part, which is just kind of dummy text. I mean, it's not a real movie. So I actually took the logos from that. If you look at the bottom, I took, man, my computer's running very slow. Okay, so let's just run through this. And this class is not going to show you how to do this. My new class on poster design is going to walk through this exact file and show you how I did it. But what I want to do is show you how it all comes together and what layers I have here. Look at all these layers here. Okay, as I take them off, you can see that things start to come off. They start to change. See, all the color overlays that I had disappear. Here are the lens flares that I have. If you look at the lens flares, they're set to screen. See, these are just black files. It's a lens flare on a black background, but it's set to screen. So if I put that normal, you would see, okay, now it's, got a black background. So I set it back to screen. And really, there's not much here that I haven't covered already in Photoshop. So you could potentially do this, I've got a lot of little things. This is just like a little bit of dirt on the lens. This is, let me zoom out so you can see. This is just darkening up the edges. So you can just see that it darkens up the edges just a little bit and focuses towards the middle. These are just some clouds that gives it a little more texture. And okay, here's a building in the background that not even sure where this is. If I hit Control and then hit that, I'll get the dancing. Oh, okay, here it is, way back in the background. Control D. Take that off, take that off, take that off. And, a lot of this is just playing with, okay, see? I use this rough area to mask the fact that the picture ends there, and then we go into the bottom part. And then just to fine tune it, I had put a bunch of, with a brush, I just created all these. I have, you can go online and find these brushes that are distortion brushes. So just go to Google and hit distortion brushes, and you can, draw all over this and make it look distorted. And then I had a little too much, so I went over here to the layers panel, to the alpha channel, and I just started painting in black where I didn't want to see it. Here's just a few more elements, and stuff is, there's a lot of this that's like 20%, you barely see it. Here are some screws that I got off of freeimages.com. You can barely even see them. These are in the top here, and they're just overlaid on top of the letters. So we'll get rid of those. And I didn't go through and organize this. If I was going to turn over this Photoshop file, you would want to put everything into folders and organize it and everything. But I just did this for myself, just for fun. Okay, the last road. Here's the title. And as you can see, I have a bunch of effects that are from the layer style panel. So I have, okay, let's just look at it the way it was without anything. I'm going to disable the layer mask. So the last road is just written in, what is that? Let's see. You can still edit this text. So it's Open Sans Condensed. Okay, it's not even, a crazy font or anything. Very basic font. So then I added a bevel and emboss. I added a little, let's zoom in on that so you can see it. Just hitting the space bar to move it around. Bevel emboss gives it a little bit of three-dimensionality, stroke, inner glow. My processor's a little slow, so it's taking a second here. Really. Okay, so you can see all that. I added a little bit of gradient over the top so that you can see that it looks like it's reflecting a little bit. There's a lot of stuff that I would go back and really do well if I was going to, if this was actually going to be a presentation, but this was just kind of a quick demonstration of poster design. And enable layer mask, I just made some, I roughened up the words just by using that same brush in the alpha channel. Okay, if you keep going down, I created this guy from a sign that I got. I just found this old rusty sign, and I just cut off the bottom, cut off the top, and actually if you look over here you can see the edge of it. I put a little outer glow that's dark just to differentiate it. Let me do Control Alt Z. Don't want that. Then these are some atmospherics. This is just some smoke that I found. Again, here's some helicopters in the background. Now, these are helicopters on a white background. Actually, there was a sky behind them, but just with the levels or the curves or whatever, I changed it so the background was white and the foreground was darker. Let's see what these look like. Okay. If you look at this, you can see, and I brought it, when you see things when things are further in the distance, they fade out. Their color fades out a little bit. So if you see a building, like these mountains here, they are in the distance. So you take out the color, they start to lose their color, and they start to fade into the sky. So you'll make them a little blue or whatever. I knew that I was going to add a little bit of blue color on the very top of all this, so I just kind of kept this black and white. But you can see over here is the helicopter, and that's got its box around it, so I hit multiply, and now it looks like it's sitting there in the sky. I also added I took this fire that I just cut out of a building on fire that I got a picture off of Google, and I just kind of superimposed that. A lot of this is using the tools you can see multiply, screen. A lot of this has to do with the blending mode that you put on it. Okay, here's our guy that I cut out. I had cut him out before in another file, so he's all cut out and ready. Some more smoke. Put a sky on top that was not part of the actual sky. Get rid of more of this stuff. And this is actually. What is it making? It's really annoying. Okay. Okay, so this was New York, but I didn't want it to be New York. I didn't want you to be like, oh, you know, I don't really know New York that well. So the only thing that jumped out at me that this is New York was this. I want to say the Chrysler Building or the Empire State Building, one of the two. I get them confused. I'm an idiot, so sorry about that. Okay, look at all these different effects. I'm going to take all these out. These are all on black background, so these are all screen. So screen on these. All this fire and smoke is just screen again. Let's see. Delete more. Yeah, okay. Just take these off. And these are just pictures where, if you look here, here's a picture of a building, and then I've just created an alpha channel on there where I'm blocking out, you know, a lot of what's on there. So I believe that's here. Yeah. You know, you fool your eye a little bit because you're just basically putting that on top of something. That's not even, I mean, actually, now that I look at that, that's not even like on a building. That's just in the middle of the air. That should be further down. So you can see, okay, let's look at that for a second. And if this is advanced, I mean, this is advanced stuff. So if you don't understand everything, then just kind of like sit back and watch and you know, maybe you'll want to take this other class, you know, and I'll walk through everything here and how I do it. Okay, so we have this picture here. I'm going to show you the whole picture, just the way it is. Disable layer mask. Normal. Okay. So here is a picture I had. This is somebody else's. I mean, I don't own the rights to these pictures, so you know, I just took this. I moved it around. You know, I hit Control T. I moved it around a little bit until it like matched where this building was, and then I hit screen up here, and then I just started. I'll even get rid of that. Oops. Then I delete layer mask. Okay, there we are. That's how it looks. We want to have this, actually we want to have this be on the fire be, let's say we want it on this building here in the background. Now I know not everybody's going to do this kind of stuff, so just bear with me. Okay, so we have it on screen, so only the light part's coming through. I'm going to hit the layer mask button, and then I'm going to paint in black. I'm going to hit the curly brackets to the right. Then I'm just going to start coloring all this out. I'm going to make it smaller. There we go. There we go. There we go. Color all that out. And one thing about doing any sort of compositing, the stuff that's in the back, you know, and it's the same thing with, like, you know, when they're doing mask effects and they have like a group of people that's all dressed up, the ones in the back don't have the same makeup as the ones in the front. You know, you only really have to ultra worry about the people that are in the front, you know. Okay. So there's that. Let's just take all this stuff out. Here's some smoke effects that I found. I just took that from some other pictures. Other smoke effects. Let's see, just put that normal. Yeah, that's a smoke effect that I added. I mean, it's just a picture that I changed the, you know, I hit Control T and just moved it around, made it small, make it look like it's coming from here, and then I put screen, and there you go. And you just keep going through it like that. I mean, this is, look at all these different images. And then I've got the mountains here in the background. And I didn't even do a great job. I mean, you can see that it's actually fading into the back here, and everything's, I mean, it's not really cut out that well or anything, but it sells itself. It just, you know, a lot of times you just have to eyeball stuff and, you know, see how it all is coming together visually versus like what's logical. All right, so let's go through and we'll start adding all this back. I'll make this smaller. put it all back. And this is fun. I mean, this to me is a lot of fun, you know. So getting in and say you want to create a really cool book cover or a poster design for a movie or whatever, you know, any kind of design. It all is kind of built like this. Oops, I put this in here. Got to make sure that the layers that you don't need, you don't put back in. And there's an easy way to do this, but I'm just doing it slowly so you can kind of slowly see the reveal, how everything's coming together. And this is really more my style. I like doing kind of the rough edges and stuff. If you look at the work that I do, a lot of it has this kind of style to it. There we go. And the lens flare always adds a little bit of like coolness, you know. So if you're doing this kind of design, I know it's gotten a little bit out of fashion with like, you know, J.J. Abrams kind of used enough for all of us, but you know, still it adds a little bit of oomph, and especially if you're working for clients, they're going to want to see little effects like that. Okay, now you see on top of here, on top of all this, I have these adjustment layers. So these, you know, after I do this, this doesn't all look like it doesn't all look right, you know. So, you know, I start messing with the colors. And now, when you put an adjustment layer, it starts bringing things together. Now all of these things have been changed in the same way, so they all look like they're part of the same picture. So we'll go add the text down there, add our logos. I roughened up, this is just a rough file that I put, like we did on the book design. This is just a rough file I put on top of that. And then I added another gradient, a gradient map, which is basically, if you look at a gradient map, we'll take the light and the dark values, and it'll allow you to change what colors are in the gradient from light to dark. So one thing you do in filmmaking a lot is make the darks a little bit bluish and the lights a little bit yellowish. So I just kind of super did that. If you want to see what it looks like to put, let's put like pink in the top. See, all of a sudden this is looking pink, and it doesn't look that bad because it's not that, you know. So all the lights will be pink and all the darks will be, let's put something crazy like green. Okay. So you can get some pretty interesting effects with the gradient map. But I don't want to do that right now. So for now, we'll just leave it like this. And I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more, 30. And there you go. That's just a quick look into poster design. And hopefully if you like this and you really want to get a little more deep into this and see kind of how I did everything, you will watch the poster design class that I have. All right. Thanks a lot.